I remember walking out of the locker room and, being very disappointed. I was very emotional. I don't get too emotional after games, after losses. I just remember crying in the locker room and just feeling that sense of let down. We really wanted to win, and being in such a high when a few days earlier, where we had won here and now losing. So, you move into a situation where you come to the summer and you don't know what potentially can happen, and you take it a step process at a time and try to figure out what's best for you and your family. And here I sit. When I came down here, I text Paul and Kevin. Those are the guys that I talked quite a bit with over the years, and we shared a lot of similar philosophies. Those are the guys that when we came into Boston together, a lot was put on our shoulders as to whether or not we were going to win, and so I look back at all our times spent in Boston, and we played. We've had a lot of disappointments, but we shared a lot of thrills, and a lot of that's off the court. So, it is sad to me knowing that I'm not going to be with those guys anymore. But I'm looking forward to what we can do here in this organization. Being a teammate of LeBron, being a teammate of Dwayne, Chris Bosh. I just met Joel Anthony, and those guys are all excited to have me here.
Even after Avery started in Boston, you still comported yourself as a starter, as someone who thought he still had starter's minutes in him and a starter's role. With Dwayne here, that would not appear as likely.
You mean I'm not starting?
Ask the man to your left. That's good to know.
Wish they'd told me that last week.
All right, Eric, more storylines for next year. Ray, what type of role did they discuss with you, and how important was finding a definitive role here, whether maybe it was starting X amount of minutes, and what have you been told about what your role is, and what do you think at this age that your role still can be?
Well, going into this process, I never said whether I wanted to start or come off the bench. That wasn't really, issue. The way that I prepare for the game, the way that I try to figure out what's best for this team, whatever is going to be best for me in this situation is going to figure itself out. This team won a championship without me. I'm not going to come in and expect to, for coach to cater to who I am or what I do. I got to make that work on the floor with my new teammates. And I always said, whether you start or come off the bench, the best compliment is who you finish the game up with. And it changes from game to game depending on who you play. So when I was coming off the bench and Avery was starting, Avery was doing a great job. You got in there and had an impact as best as you can when you can get in there. And then, you finish the game, you got to make some free throws. It changes. And for me, I've always been a guy that I go with what the coach needs or what the coach wants, what the team needs or what the coach wants. And, I'm not trying to come here and win on my terms. I'm trying to win on what Coach Spoelstra and Pat Riley need for this team to help win another championship.
There are only a handful of players, really, in this league that absolutely strike fear into their opponent. And Ray is one of those players. If you looked at the coaching staffs and benches around the league, every time you see a still shot of him raising, you probably see the body language of that bench going like this, knowing what's about to happen, and in clutch moments in particular. So he's built a reputation on that. We're thrilled to have him here in the Miami Heat family, but there's no question we brought him here to be a big part of what we do.